What is up, guys? It is Styx here, and today I'm going to be going over another amazing build for Onslaught, as well as other high-end PvE activities, such as the high-end raids, dungeons, GM nightfalls, etc. This build is going to be primarily focusing on survivability as a hunter, and it is going to provide a way to break every single champion type. Starting off with the subclass, we are going with the Revenant Hunter subclass, which comes with the Silence and Squall super, which throws 2 stasis commas. The first creates a freeze blast that freezes and damages targets. This can be used to proc Shatter, which will then allow you to stun an unstoppable champion, and Squall, which creates a tornado that slows and damages targets caught inside. Squall has the ability to both slow targets and freeze and then shatter them. The next ability I will be going for here is the Gambler's Dodge to instantly recharge my melee every time I dodge near an enemy. We will be using Triple Jump for the 3 jumps that provides us a lot of mobility when it comes to jumping puzzles, and the only melee is the Withering Blade Stasis Shuriken, which you can use to slow and stun overloads. Our grenade is going to be extremely important for this build, and it is required that you use the Duskfield grenade. This will slow targets in its whole location in the big old blue sphere, and it will freeze them if enough slow is applied. We will be using Touch of Winter, which will increase the field size of our slow, and will generate a stasis crystal inside of the Duskfield, both of which are very important details. And we will be pairing that aspect with Grim Harvest, which defeating a slowed or frozen target creates stasis shards. Those shards will grant you melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. Now, to bring some synergy into this, our fragments are going to be Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional crystals will increase the duration of the benefit. Whisper of Durance, so that the slow applied by our Squall, our Shuriken, and our Duskfield will last longer, and the duration of them will increase, in addition to a +10 to our strength. Whisper of Chains, while you are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets in addition to a +10 recovery. This will be really helpful because we're going to be staying in that Duskfield location, and we will also be staying near frozen enemies. Whisper of Rime, so that when we collect the stasis shards that are created by Grim Harvest, we will also gain a small amount of overshield, which will improve our survivability. That falls off after about 10 seconds. However, collecting additional shards adds to the overshield and completely refreshes the timer, meaning if you are continuously creating and taking shards for Whisper of Rime, you will never run out of overshield. And Whisper of Conduction. This is to help maintain uptime on Whisper of Rime and Grim Harvest by having nearby stasis shards tracked to our position. Another bonus effect to this is it provides a +10 to our resilience and our intellect, which, speaking of our stats, on this build we are going to primarily prioritize resilience and discipline. Once both of those scores are at 100, I recommend then going into your mobility, raising that as high as you can, and then if you just have stat pieces that make you consider, I would say intellect is more important than strength because you will be using your mobility to recharge your melee by dodging near targets. Now, for the armor, which is the cornerstone of this build, we will be using Renewal Grasps. The exotic effect of Renewal Grasps is Depths of Duskfield. Your Duskfield grenades have a larger effect radius. This stacks with the Touch of Winter aspect to give us a significantly larger effect radius, and then all allies, including ourselves, within the Duskfield take reduced damage, and targets outside of the area deal reduced damage to you. This will allow us to maintain a large amount of survivability within activities like Onslaught, where there are continuous enemies and we need to hold a position. Because if you're at the ADU and you place your Duskfield, you don't need to leave, you don't need to run around, you don't need to really collect things. Even your stasis shards, you can really just go around and get conduction to collect them a lot for you. And we will have some other solutions for things like orbs in our armor mods. Speaking of which, when it comes to the mods for your armor, on the helmet, I recommend Heavy Ammo Finder, Solar/Strand Dual Siphon from the artifact mods, of which I will go more in depth on what artifact mods I recommend in a moment. And if you are able to fit it, I would recommend Hands On, to get bonus super energy on melee kills, but the most important here for Onslaught, in my opinion, is Heavy Ammo Finder and Solar/Strand Dual Siphon. On the gauntlets, I recommend running Double Impact Induction, which causing damage with your melee will reduce your grenade cooldown, and Heavy Handed, which your powered melee final blows will create Orbs of Light. On your chest piece, I recommend running whatever resistance mods you are most comfortable with. I personally, for Onslaught, am rocking Solar, Void, and Sniper damage resistance, just because that fits in with the amount of stuff I am using, and it makes me feel at least relatively safe. On the legs, I'm going to highly recommend running 2 Solar Weapon Surge mods. This is because we are going to be using 2 solar weapons in this build, or at the very least 1 solar primary, and making it do significantly more damage means all the difference in activities like Legend Onslaught, or even in basic Onslaught with dealing with higher rarity enemies. And we will be pairing that with Recuperation, so that whenever we get an Orb of Power, we will regenerate health. That way, in addition to getting Overshield from Shards of Rime, then we will also be regenerating health. And then on our cloak, we have arguably a couple of the most important mods in this set of armor, which are Time Dilation. Our Decaying Armor Charge has a 5-second longer instead of 10-second duration, and Powerful Attraction, which automatically collects all nearby orbs of power whenever you activate your class ability. This is going to really benefit us in situations where we're locking down an area, let's say it's an enemy spawn point, and we're not worried about getting closed in or anything like that, and we're just trying to hold down the area. We're trying to constantly be spamming our dodges, our melees, our grenade to keep ourselves and our team alive. This is going to make it so we will be constantly absorbing the orbs of power, healing, getting abilities back, getting your super, and it's going to make it really just come together super cleanly. And then just as a little icing on the cake, I pair it with Bomber to once again reduce my grenade cooldown whenever I'm using my class ability, so that regardless of what ability I'm using, it will be constantly reducing my grenade cooldown so that I can just use as many Dusk Fields as I need to use. For the artifact mods, I'm going to recommend running Piercing Sidearms so that you can have anti-barrier sidearms. I'm going to recommend Flame, Fiber, and Breeze in the second column, which combines Solar and Strand and Solar and Stasis Siphon mods into one mod. For this case, we will be using Solar and Strand, as that works the best for this build, to my knowledge. We will be using Kindling Trigger, so that Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants. And we will be using Blast Radius, so that rapid final blows with rocket launchers and grenade launchers grant us stacks of armor charge. In the third column, we will be using Flint Striker, so that rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows will grant you Radiant. Having Radiant on Stasis has some very interesting and powerful benefits, which will show themselves in later seasonal artifact mods. We will be using Torch, while Radiant deal increased damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuffs, which includes Slow and Freeze. Wished into being, so that while our super is nearly fully charged, our ability final blows have an additional chance to spawn orbs of power. Pillar of Ice, in the fourth column, defeating a frozen target spawns stasis crystals. So this is so that we can continuously have those stasis crystals, which we will be able to use for Whisper of Chains and for getting our grenade recharge to be improved. In the final column, we have Hail the Storm, shattering frozen targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage, and shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. In addition to that, there is Rays of Precision, which while radiant, solar precision final blows cause combatants to ignite. Now, for the weapons, I'm going to highly recommend using Tusk of the Boar, ideally with Envious Assassin and Chain Reaction. However, if there are other grenade launchers you are more comfortable with, then you might need to switch around your mods a little bit, but it's fairly malleable. I would recommend, though, using something Strand related in your kinetic slot, or at the very least, something stasis related. For the primary weapon we are going to use in our energy slot, we are going to use the heliocentric QSC sidearm. I'm going to be using a role with Heal Clip and Kill Clip. However, I also have a role for Demolitionist and Kill Clip to better increase the amount of uptime on our Duskfield grenade. I think, though, Heal Clip is just that much more useful because in clutch situations where you're running out of health, killing an enemy and reloading can give you that little bit of edge. And then for our heavy weapon, I'm going to highly recommend the exotic rocket launcher Gjallarhorn. It is extremely ammo efficient, which is very important in Onslaught, and as long as you make sure you're saving it for important targets or for clearing very threatening groups of adds that are potentially next to the ADU, then you can make a very good use of it. And then, due to the heavy ammo finder, you will continuously get even more rounds of Gjallarhorn. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you like the build, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.